Good morning, my friends, and happy weekend to you. I hope your week previous was absolutely beautiful and wonderful and full of good crafty time. The weekend, I also hope that you have good time for craft this weekend or something fun if it's not craft. Okay, it's collage stories time. Very excited for today's story. I thought this was going to be really tough, and I think it's come together okay. So if you're new to collage stories, just stick with me. It won't be a long video, and see what you think. See if it's something you might like to participate in. There's two ways that you can participate, and I would welcome your participation in either or both of those ways. So let's clear off the title. Grab out my page that I'm working on. Let's make sure it's up the right way. The prompts for today are from Mari. And we have swing bridge, which I thought was going to be super hard. Turned out not too bad. Lizard, canoe, that one was quite tough. It was quite hard to find a canoe, but I succeeded. Rain was the hardest one for me to do, but I've kind of got something that'll work. And teacups. Okay, and my sixth prompt that I've put for today is a utensil used for eating. Okay, because there's lots of different types of utensils. I guess so. Utensils. I'm specifically specifying, my gosh, redundant, a utensil that's used in the process of eating. Okay, got that? Sweet. So my story today is about a character we're going to call Amanda. And she lives in a place where there are tropical storms, and this is the rain. You can see all the low cloud and kind of where the rain's falling in the background there. This is lava. Just looking at it, I realize this is lava in the foreground. But we're not talking Hawaii. We're just talking about somewhere where there is tropical storms. And so Amanda's no newbie when it comes to these tropical storms, like hurricanes and things. And so their property is well used to having to go through or weather those events. And there's just been one. And it's pulled back, like they're out of danger. The extreme weather has finished, but there's still a bit of rain around. It's still very cloudy and overcast and dull and grey. And there's a lot of flooding because of this hurricane. Now, Amanda is in her house. There's the house there. And she's looking out the window. So I'm going to turn this into a pocket. So let me just do that before I continue the story. Because the next part of the story, I need my next element to go on. So just bear with me, my friends. So just putting the glue around to create a wee pocket there for my prompt list. I want that to sit just under that rainy area at the top. So she's sitting in her house, looking out the window and enjoying a lovely cup of tea. Quite relaxed, just enjoying the peace and quiet of the aftermath of the storm, and just contemplating what the landscape looks outside with the flooding, and thinking through whether there's any damage. And as I said, they're pretty used to weathering through those storms, so they're pretty good. But you don't get away unscathed from those severe weather events. So she's just enjoying a nice, calming, refreshing cup of tea from her armchair, looking out the window. Okay, just make sure I'm in frame for the bottom of the page there. So she's enjoying her cup of tea. And I'm going to stop laying things down for a moment. And one of the things that they have on their property is a pond or a lake, a small lake, depending how you want to describe it. And of course, when we have these, or when they have these weather events, that lake floods. It fills up and it goes right up to the foundations of the house and just creates a massive big area of wet. So long ago, they put in a protective measure for themselves so that they weren't landlocked. And they put in a swing bridge, which I have here. It's a fabulous swing bridge. I had to cut the trees down from the top. It had a whole heap of trees up the top. So it's a swing bridge through a forest. So they've put in the swing bridge so they can get to firm land if they need to go out and get anything, or if anybody needs to come and see them, just to give them options. Because it's not a nice feeling to not be able to leave your house because it's water all around it. So she's busy drinking her cup of tea. Well, not busy, I should say. She's just quietly drinking her cup of tea, thinking about all the weather and how everybody else is faring, and looking out upon the flooded pond. This isn't flooded, but this got canoes. That's why this picture's here, is the canoes. The canoes are another method they use for protecting themselves so that they can canoe out somewhere. You know, if the bridge isn't getting them to where they need, they can hop in a canoe and they can go somewhere. She's busy. I keep saying busy. She's looking out the window, and all of a sudden she sees a beautiful lizard walking along the edge of the swing bridge. She's got very good eyesight, Amanda does. So she managed to spot this lizard. And straight away she sat up in her chair and got out her binoculars so she could have a closer look at the lizard, because she suspected she knew what the lizard was. And this lizard is a marine lizard. It lives in the water. Now that's actually factual. It is the only lizard in the world that lives in the water full time. And I don't know if they're endangered, but for the purpose of my story, I'm going to say it's endangered. And she saw this lizard, so she grabbed her binoculars, had a closer look, grabbed out her identification book, and sure enough, here was this marine lizard on her bridge. And she's like, my goodness, lizard, you're a long way from home. That's no good. And she thought, well, I could just leave it. There's plenty of water around, but the water is fresh water. And this lizard needed seawater. And so she's like, what am I going to do? I can't leave this poor endangered creature that's so beautiful just to fend for itself. So she abandons her cup of tea and she heads outside and she approaches the lizard, and he's kind of just hanging out, you know, he's not scared of her or anything. So she manages to catch him very gently, very carefully, and she pops him in a wee box that she had ready. And it's like, okay, I need to take him where there's seawater. And the bridge is only going to take me to land. It's not going to help. So she thought, right, I've got to grab the canoe. So she gets one of the canoes, and oh no, the floodwaters have taken all the oars, the paddles away. There's no paddles for the canoe. She's like, what am I going to do? I need some way to paddle the canoe and take this lizard out to the sea. And it's not a long distance, so she knew she would be able to physically do it, but not without a paddle. So she was scratching her head and thinking about it, and then she had an idea. She knew she had this tall spoon in her kitchen, and she thought, that will do as a paddle. So she popped the lizard in his box safely in the end of the canoe, and then she ran inside, found the spoon, and went outside and hopped in the canoe and paddled her way all the way out to the ocean using the spoon, and released the gorgeous wee lizard back into the wild environment so it would not only survive but thrive. So there we go. There's today's story. We've got all the elements on there, I believe. So we've got swing bridge, lizard, canoe, rain at the top there. Bring it down a bit so you can see. Rain, teacups. I've gone with a single teacup. You know, you can use one or more. And then a utensil used for eating. So that is today's story. I will give it a title after the fact. And that is that. In our little prompt list here, we'll just slide in our wee pocket like so. Okay, now let's pull the prompts for next week's story. So while I'm shuffling these, if you would like to participate and this is new to you, you can do the collage. I will put the prompts down in the description box for today's collage. So you can go down there and grab the prompts and do a collage. You can choose to do a story element or not. Like the story is my thing. You don't have to make up a story for your collage. You can just enjoy doing the collage. If you don't want to do a collage but would still like to participate in some way, then please, and even if you do the collage, I would appreciate if you would leave me a set of 5 prompts in the description box in a comment. Not in the description box, sorry. What am I trying to say? Leave me a comment in the comment section with a list of 5 prompts, and then I will add them to my pile here that I'm busy shuffling, and you have a chance of having your prompts pulled and have me do a collage story to your prompts. And then I always add a 6th prompt, and then I present you with the 6 prompts to whether you want to collage, if you would like to collage. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, do pop down in the description box. I'm going to take the second one down here, and I don't look when I do this because I can't really shuffle properly, so I want to make sure I'm not upside down, not using my eyes to select one, so that's completely random. So list from Selena. The prompts for next week are grey, something wet, numbers, postage element, and game piece. So that's for next week. These prompts will only appear in next week's video. They won't be written down anywhere until next week. So just a little heads up. If you want to grab a screenshot, feel free. So there we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for Collage Stories for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you give collaging a go if you've never tried it. It's so fun. It's very relaxing. Have a great weekend, friends, and I will be back on Monday with the Deal It Up Challenge. I'll see you then. Bye for now.